Bruno Gomares, Bradley Bacola, who else is there? Morgan Rogers, this one, that one. None of them are signed for Arsenal. And I can understand and sympathize with fans that are beginning to panic, people. But is it just me? Why is there panicking? Did we not learn anything from last season? You know, when, for granted, Zubamendi was signed early. A couple other movements were happening. But I remember there was a period last summer. It was dominated by Noni Madueke. Eze looked like he was going to Spurs. Gyökeres, Sporting Lisbon were playing hardball. And we were up in arms. For me personally, I'm judging Arsenal at the end of the window because that is when, God forbid, assuming we didn't sign anyone, that's when I can be up in arms. Also, we don't have all of the variables, people. Yes, to us common fans, we're seeing players signed before World Cups for new teams, signed during the World Cup for certain teams, signed after the World Cup for certain teams. Where Arsenal's concerned, you know, we've come a long way. Did I ever think we would, you know, not only win the Premier League title, but Josh Kroenke and the Kroenke family, pardon my language, we're fucking with you now. The way Josh Kroenke is speaking, Andrea Berta handling business, Mikel Arteta doing his thing. Why on God's green earth would we stop now? And I understand it. Other teams, we're giddy anyways because it's transfer season. We're finally at the pinnacle, Champions League final, League Cup final, Premier League champions. Well, let's build on it and let's have it right. We did it. You know, we're just about getting over the line. Like, we want to see us play some more attacking football. Our attackers get back in form. Players not get injured. That's for another video, etc., etc. So I understand it, and I can be frustrated, but we don't know everything's at play. I always say, for the rumors that come out, yeah, a lot of them are true, a lot of them are false. But what's going on in the rumor mill and what's actually happening in the real world of football, which we're not privy to, because I can't call Mikel Arteta, Andrea Berta, etc., two different things. Had I had their phone numbers and we're generally not saying we are, but we aren't working on transfers, then I could panic. We don't know what's going on. I understand it and I sympathize. And I, like everybody, want signing. I want to be gassed. I want to be making 11s about Bruno Gomares and Declan Rice. Where's Morgan Rogers' best position? You know, Julian Alvarez and all of these things. You know, it's a techie one. I understand as well that for me, especially with the names I've said, they're all big players with big price tags. I don't doubt that they like Arsenal. We like them. We'd have them. It comes down to agreeing on a fee. Scouts either do your job, or when these players, you don't take the opportunity to sign these players wherever they are and they end up where they're currently and the price tags that come with it, of course, bar and negotiate. But there has to be a willingness to pay the price tag. So now I genuinely, and I'm not saying this honestly, like I don't have Mikel Arteta, Andrea Berta, Josh Kroenke and their wider team as dickheads. Why on God's green earth, when you finally, after all the striving after 4 years, the backdrop of 22 years, why on God's green earth would you let up now? I'm not saying the players will come in, the names that we've been linked with. I'm not saying we'll necessarily be happy. I'm not saying there'll be a success, but there'll be an intention. For me personally, priorities, absolutely priority. A defensive reinforcement, whether it's a centre-back that can play right back or, you know, a Swiss Army life like a Tomiyasu, like a Jurin Timber, that's your business. Somebody like Bruno that can play as a 6 or an 8. And I'm genuinely looking at Zubamendi, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Declan Rice and Gomares and the options there and feeling great. Someone that can finally make us shut the fuck up about the left-hand side. If you could bring me a striker, if you could get me an attacking chaotic Swiss Army knife like Morgan Rogers. Like, for me, the two I want is Morgan Rogers and Bruno Gomares. I'm saying that off the bat. I really want them. I think Gomares would be a sexy signing and he's an Arsenal midfielder. Morgan Rogers, I know, you know, the left-hand side, that looks like your inkling. I don't think that would be you on a consistent basis, but I think them two are level raisers. I like Morgan Rogers' chaos and I like what Bruno Gomares could be, people. But as I keep saying, people, I understand the concern, but for me, I'm not ready to panic yet, man. I'm staying calm. Of course, I want movements. Of course, I'm kind of in the wilderness. I do think social media plays a part, and I don't think it helps people because, you know, you keep opening social media. Our season's over for next season before a ball's kicked. Arsenal are asleep. Arteta's this, Berta's that, etc., etc. We're finished. We're taking too long. And again, admittedly, as we close up the World Cup and we're moving closer towards pre-season, I am starting to get a bit frustrated and anxious, and there's more of a pressing need for myself to get these players in. Quicker you get them in, they get up to bed and up to speed with their teammates, tactics, all of that kind of jazz, people. So that's where I'm at, man. So I understand it. You know, we're sleeping, everyone is spending, we're finished. I get why fans are nervous, but me, I'm pretty chilled out. I've said in another video, if there's one thing that's making me crash out, it's the injuries. It's the potential injuries this season that could derail the start of the season. It's the injuries and the minutes played at the World Cup. That's where I'm at, people. I don't panic. Of course, for me, every signing needs to make sense. I don't really, for me as well, yeah. And I know I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I just advocated for Morgan Rogers. Literally just advocated for such people. But I don't like, if this makes sense, I want a left winger who's a left winger, if that makes sense. I want a centre mid who's a centre mid. I know versatility plays a part, but I think we need players that we need a tool for the job, not a tool that can do bare different jobs. Like, we need a screwdriver, get a screwdriver. Don't get some madness that turns into a screwdriver, a hammer, etc., people. So I get it, because, you know, people aren't making these concerns up. Rivals are announcing signings. Arsenal have evident areas to strengthen. Injuries are already appearing. Last season, in terms of injuries, came with disappointment. Every transfer rumor creates anxiety. And as an Arsenal fan, there has been some occasions, but you're counting on one hand when you've actually just woken up, oh, we've signed a player. It's always dragged out. Rice was dragged out. Eze was dragged out. Gyökeres was dragged out. Failed pursuits of Mudryk and Caicedo were dragged out. We haven't signed anyone, and I can't lie, I'm quite pessimistic on all the names I said, but Morgan Rogers appears dragged out. Omares appears dragged out, people, you know. So I understand it. So if you're worried, I completely get it. But I'm just not convinced to worry automatically and start panicking and things like that. I mean, 20 years ago, I'm only 31, but I've seen the internet kind of become like I remember when internet were internet in it, and now it's you need internet now, if that makes sense. Like, at the start of my life, it was in a newspaper. You might see it on teletext. That's your business. Now, admittedly, when it's officially announced on the TV or on Sky Sports, that's almost a last, isn't it? Where people are tracking flights and all of these things. And every 5 minutes, every journalist contradicts each other, adds a new personal spin on stuff and things of that ilk, people. As I keep saying, the reality is we don't know what's happening inside Arsenal. We're reacting to rumors. We're not in the meetings. We're reacting to reports, not actual negotiations. Silence, or apparent silence, doesn't automatically mean inactivity from Andrea Berta and the recruitment team, people. You know, and like I said, for me, the main push as to why I want signings is pre-season. Tactical understanding, relationships, learning about pressing, patterns of play, chemistry, fitness, and all of that kind of stuff, people. If Arsenal genuinely believe they're signing players, the earlier they arrive, the better. But equally, clubs know this too. Clubs know clubs know buyers are at a disadvantage. Negotiations are different. We know the money that is in the game at this moment in time, people. We've got to be real. Transfers are not Football Manager. Agent negotiations, image rights, payment structures, bonuses, media, medical schedules, multiple targets, selling clubs, replacing players. These are things we don't see. Fans just see the announcement, not necessarily weeks, days, hours, months of work, people. Sometimes the player everyone thinks Arsenal should buy doesn't even want to leave. Sometimes the club don't want to sign someone. I don't want to sound blindly optimistic, and those who know. That doesn't mean Arsenal shouldn't sign anyone. Absolutely not, people. Markham has a deadline. We get to the end of the window, and this is the case. I'm going to be with you lot crashing up because I think it's stupidity, people. And then that's my issue. I don't want this to go late. I want major positions to be filled very early, as sooner the better, innit? I don't want us to leave it late in the window. Key injuries or potential key areas of injuries or concerns and red zones, that needs to be addressed. If Arsenal miss out on the Morgan Rogers, the Bruno Gomares, is this one, that one, like the key targets, I'll be upset. I'd want them. But in terms of the player profile, this is what you lot are looking at. When you're not just having one target, there's got to be several others of different stature. Go and get them, people. And again, if it goes that way, then concerns become justified. That's different from saying the season's doom and gloom like some people doing in mid-July. I always say, and I think football's for discussions, I don't tell you what to think. Just think, people. You know, I think there's a difference between concern and panic. Concern says Arsenal still have work to do. Panic says the season's over. The transfer window, bearing in mind it's not finished, but, you know, it is what it is. Pre-season is still ongoing. The transfer window isn't finished. We don't know every conversation that's happening behind closed doors. Now, if we're having the same conversation much later and the squad still hasn't addressed evident and obvious gaps, I'll be the first to say Arsenal got it wrong. Arsenal fucking up. What's going on? I'm choosing patience over panic. Patience doesn't mean I'm just sitting there doing yoga. I share a lot of what you lot are saying. Maybe I'm too kind. Maybe you lot are right to panic. Let me know what you think. Where do you lot sit in terms of panic out of 10? Where you at? 1 means completely relaxed. 10 means complete meltdown, people. Where are you at with this? But calm down. You always